Mr. Harris worked long hours at the music academy. He was the janitor, the one who cleaned the floors, polished the walls, and made sure every corner of the building was spotless. Every day, students rushed in and out, carrying music books and instruments, chatting loudly, laughing, and sometimes arguing. Teachers hurried past with papers in their hands, and the halls were always filled with noise and energy. Mr. Harris moved quietly, almost invisible to everyone. He worked hard, not because anyone asked him to, but because he wanted to make life a little easier for everyone else. His daughter, Lily, always came with him. She was a quiet girl with dark, curious eyes that seemed to take in everything. She didn't talk much, and people hardly noticed her. But she noticed everything. She noticed the way the piano keys gleamed under the lights, the way the music sheets fluttered when someone turned them, and the way the big hall smelled of polish and wood. Lily loved the academy in her own silent way. Every night after the students and teachers left, the academy became quiet. The laughter and chatter faded, and only the soft hum of the air conditioner remained. The lights dimmed, and the empty hall seemed to stretch endlessly. Mr. Harris would start his work, pushing the mop across the shiny floors, dusting the shelves, and picking up scraps of paper that students had left behind. Lily would sit in the corner near the grand piano, her small hands folded in her lap, watching her father move around the hall. Sometimes she would hum softly to herself, imagining the music that had just filled the space earlier. One evening, as her father polished the piano, Lily leaned closer. She had been looking at it for weeks, wondering what it would feel like to touch the keys. Hesitation held her back, but curiosity won over. She reached out and pressed a single key. A soft note floated through the hall. It was not loud, not powerful, but it was enough to make her heart beat faster. She looked at her father nervously. He smiled and nodded slightly, encouraging her without saying a word. Lily pressed another key, and then another. Slowly, she started creating a small melody. It was simple, but it was hers. She closed her eyes and let her fingers move, following a rhythm that seemed to come from inside her. Mr. Harris paused his work to watch. He had never seen her like this before. Her face was calm, focused, and full of joy. Every note she played seemed to fill the empty hall with warmth. It was a sound he had never heard before from anyone, not even the students who came here every day. Days turned into weeks. Every night after the academy was empty, Lily would play. She taught herself small pieces she had heard during the day. Sometimes she played the songs students practiced. Sometimes she made up her own. Her fingers moved with surprising skill. Mr. Harris watched quietly, proud and a little amazed. He never forced her to play. He never suggested lessons. He simply gave her space and time. And every night the hall seemed to listen as she played. Lily's talent was growing fast. Her fingers learned the keys by memory. Her ears caught the smallest mistakes, and she corrected them without anyone teaching her. She was careful, patient, and deeply focused. Mr. Harris often told her, "Your music is beautiful, Lily, but don't rush it. Let it grow slowly like a flower." She nodded, understanding more than words could say. At school, Lily was quiet and reserved. She didn't speak much to her classmates and often kept to herself. People thought she was shy, maybe even a little strange. She didn't care about their opinions. Her world was the academy, the piano, and the music that lived inside her. She didn't need applause or recognition. All she needed was the sound of the keys under her fingers and the gentle approval of her father. One rainy evening, Lily was sitting at the piano, playing softly. The sound was gentle, almost like a whisper. The rain tapped on the windows, mixing with her melody to create a perfect, quiet harmony. Mr. Harris worked silently nearby, his mop moving in slow, steady circles. For a moment, everything else disappeared. There was no school, no students, no teachers. There was only Lily and her music. Her melodies were not perfect, not yet. Sometimes a note would stumble or her fingers would hesitate. But there was something in her playing that no one could teach, no one could copy. It was raw, honest, and full of feeling. Mr. Harris knew this.
He had worked in many places, seen many children.
But he had never seen talent like this in anyone so young, so untrained, so pure. Sometimes Lily would look around the empty hall, imagining an audience that could hear her. She would see faces smiling, clapping, and watching in awe. It was her secret dream, one she never spoke aloud. She didn't care about fame or recognition yet. She just wanted to play to let the music flow, to express what words could not. The academy staff rarely noticed Lily. She was quiet, polite, and unassuming. But to Mr. Harris, she was extraordinary. He would often stand behind her, silently proud, remembering the first time she pressed a key and how far she had come since then. He thought of the world beyond the academy, the possibilities and the challenges. He worried about her, worried that people might not understand her, might not value her gift because of who she was and where she came from. But he also knew one thing: her music could speak for itself. One night, as he finished mopping, Mr. Harris looked at Lily. Her fingers moved gracefully, producing a melody that seemed to float and linger in the air. The sound was soft yet strong, delicate yet powerful. He felt a lump in his throat. He had never been a man of many words, but he wanted her to know that he saw her, truly saw her. He smiled and whispered, "You're amazing, Lily." Lily opened her eyes and looked at him. She smiled back, a small, shy smile, but one full of understanding. She didn't need words to feel his support. She had always known he believed in her, even when no one else did. That belief was enough to keep her going, night after night, key after key, note after note. As the nights passed, Lily's melodies became more confident. She experimented with different rhythms, played longer pieces, and tried more complex tunes. She listened carefully to the echoes of the hall, learning how sound moved in the space, how each note could fill it with emotion. Mr. Harris would watch silently, sometimes imagining what it would be like if others could hear her, if the world could know the secret talent his daughter held. The quiet moments in the empty hall became their special time. It was a bond between father and daughter, a shared love of music and patience. Mr. Harris never rushed her, never interfered. He simply provided a safe space for her talent to grow, and Lily, in turn, found comfort and freedom in those nights. She could be herself completely without fear of judgment or failure. Slowly, Lily's music became a part of the academy itself. The janitor's daughter, who no one noticed during the day, transformed the empty halls into a place alive with melody at night. And though no one else knew it yet, something extraordinary was growing in the quiet corners of the music academy, a gift that would one day amaze everyone who heard it. For now it was just her and her father, the piano and the night, and the simple, beautiful sound that no one could forget. Night after night, Lily returned to the music academy, her small fingers dancing over the keys. She had grown more confident, exploring melodies she had never tried before. Each note she played carried emotion, sadness, joy, curiosity, wonder, all without a single word. The empty hall seemed to respond to her, echoing back her music as if it understood her feelings. The piano, which once seemed distant and unapproachable, had become her closest friend. Her father, Mr. Harris, would finish his cleaning chores and sit quietly nearby, watching her play. He didn't interrupt or guide her. He let her discover everything on her own. Sometimes he would hum along softly to the tunes she made, a gentle rhythm to keep her company. Other times he just sat in silence, amazed by the talent growing before his eyes. He had worked hard all his life, cleaning and mopping, never expecting to witness something so extraordinary right in front of him. Lily's melodies were no longer simple. They were stories. She would close her eyes, imagining herself in a faraway world, and her fingers would tell the tale. Sometimes she imagined a storm, her hands flying over the keys in sharp, quick notes, then slowing into a gentle rain. Other times she imagined a sunny day in a field of flowers, and her music would be soft, delicate, and warm. She played not for anyone's approval, not even for her father, though she knew he loved every note. She played because the music lived inside her and had to be expressed. Despite her love for the piano, Lily faced challenges. Her fingers were small and sometimes stumbled over difficult notes. Her hands would ache from long hours of practice, but she never gave up. Every mistake was a lesson. Every note learned was a small victory. Mr. Harris would bring her warm tea and a soft blanket when she felt tired, telling her, "Rest is part of learning, Lily. Even music needs a pause." She would smile and continue when she felt ready again, her determination growing with each night. One evening, as the rain tapped softly against the windows, Lily tried a new piece she had heard in one of the classes during the day. It was more complex than anything she had attempted before. She hesitated at first, unsure if she could do it. Her father watched quietly, sensing her nervousness. He didn't offer words of encouragement, knowing that sometimes silence was the best support. Lily took a deep breath and began to play. At first, the notes were shaky. Her fingers fumbled, hitting the wrong keys occasionally. She stopped, sighed, and tried again. Slowly, she gained control, her fingers moving with increasing confidence. By the end of the piece, the hall was filled with a soft, rich sound that seemed almost magical. Mr. Harris's eyes filled with tears. He could not believe that this beautiful, intricate music was coming from his little daughter, who had never had lessons or guidance from anyone. Wordlessly, he stood and quietly walked around the piano, admiring how she played with her whole heart. He remembered the first night she had touched the keys and realized how far she had come. Lily had grown not just in skill, but in passion and confidence. Her music had become more than notes on a page. It was a language of emotions, feelings she could not yet put into words. Despite her progress, Lily remained humble and shy. She never boasted about her abilities, even though she had already surpassed many of the students who had years of training. She watched other students perform during the day and often felt nervous, wondering if she could ever play as well as them in front of others. But the piano in the empty hall never judged her. It listened, it understood, and it allowed her to explore and grow. One night, as Lily played a slow, gentle tune, she felt a sudden wave of inspiration. She began to combine different pieces she had learned by ear, creating a unique melody that had never existed before. It was a mix of soft, flowing notes and quick, sharp bursts of sound. Her music was alive, full of movement and emotion, telling a story only she could imagine. Mr. Harris sat nearby, completely entranced. He had never heard anything like it. He felt proud, yet a little worried. Proud of her talent, but worried that the world outside might not be as kind or understanding. As weeks passed, Lily's music became more complex, more expressive. She discovered patterns and harmonies that amazed her father. He sometimes asked her to teach him small pieces, though she was too shy to do so properly. She tried to explain what she played, but her fingers moved faster than her words, and she laughed softly at her own inability to describe the music in simple terms. Mr. Harris would nod, understanding more than she realized, appreciating the effort and emotion she put into each note. Lily began to notice small details she had never seen before. She watched the way her fingers moved, the sound that each key produced, and how the hall's acoustics changed the music. Sometimes she would experiment, playing softly in one corner, then loudly in another, noticing the difference. Her curiosity and determination to understand the piano grew stronger each night. Music was no longer just a passion, it was a journey of discovery. One particularly quiet night, the academy's head teacher accidentally left her scarf behind and returned to the hall. She paused at the doorway, surprised by the soft yet rich melody floating through the empty space. She moved closer, trying to identify the source of the music. There she saw Lily, small and unassuming, playing the piano with a skill that seemed impossible for her age. The teacher was silent, watching in awe, not wanting to disturb the little girl's focus. The teacher was struck by the purity of Lily's playing. There was no arrogance, no attempt to impress anyone, just music flowing naturally from her heart. She realized that this child, unnoticed during the day, had a rare and extraordinary gift. She watched quietly for several minutes, absorbing every note, every movement of Lily's hands. When Lily finally finished the piece, the teacher quietly stepped back, not wanting to interrupt the moment. Lily did not know she had an audience, and the teacher decided to speak to her father the next morning. That night, Mr. Harris cleaned the hall as usual, unaware that someone had witnessed Lily's talent. Lily played as she always did, imagining her own stories, exploring the piano and growing her gift. Her music filled the empty academy, carrying with it the hopes, dreams, and emotions of a little girl who had never received lessons but had an extraordinary heart. Mr. Harris felt a quiet joy, knowing that Lily's journey with music was only beginning, and that her potential was limitless. By the time they left the academy that night, Lily felt a sense of fulfillment. Her music had grown deeper, her fingers more skilled, and her heart more connected to the piano than ever. Mr. Harris walked beside her, proud and amazed, silently understanding that this was just the start of something remarkable. He knew the path ahead would not be easy, but he also knew that Lily's dedication, talent, and love for music would carry her through any challenge. And so, night after night, Lily continued to play, her music becoming a secret treasure of the academy, waiting for the world to discover it. The next morning, Mr. Harris arrived at the academy earlier than usual, pushing the janitor cart and carrying cleaning supplies. He did not notice the head teacher standing near her office window, waiting to speak to him. When he finished his work and was about to leave, she called him into her office. Mr. Harris felt a little nervous, unsure if he had done something wrong. He entered the room carefully, his eyes meeting hers with quiet curiosity. The head teacher smiled warmly. She did not scold him, nor did she talk about cleaning mistakes. Instead, she asked about Lily. Mr. Harris was surprised but answered honestly, telling her that his daughter loved music and often played on the piano after hours. The teacher listened intently, nodding as he spoke, and then she asked if she could hear Lily play in person. Mr. Harris hesitated. Lily was shy and had never performed for anyone outside the empty hall. But he knew the teacher's intentions were kind and encouraging, so he agreed. That evening, Mr. Harris brought Lily to the hall a little earlier than usual. He explained that someone wanted to hear her play. Lily's eyes widened. She had never played for a teacher or anyone else besides her father. She felt nervous, her small hands trembling slightly. Mr. Harris knelt beside her and whispered, "Play as you always do. Don't think about anyone else. Just play for yourself." Lily took a deep breath and sat at the piano. Her fingers hovered over the keys for a moment, then slowly pressed down, creating a soft note. She closed her eyes, letting the music flow naturally. At first, she played simple melodies she had practiced for weeks. Then, feeling more confident, she added her own improvisations, small twists of sound that carried emotion and depth. The hall was quiet except for the soft echo of the piano. The head teacher listened silently, completely absorbed. As Lily played, the teacher could see the connection between her and the piano. It was as if they understood each other perfectly. Each note had purpose, each pause had meaning. She realized that Lily was not only talented, but had a deep emotional understanding of music. The little girl's fingers moved quickly and gracefully, creating a melody that was both delicate and powerful. By the time she finished, the teacher was speechless, tears forming in her eyes. Lily opened her eyes and saw the teacher smiling at her. She felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. She had never received applause or recognition before. Mr. Harris stood behind her, proud but quietly emotional. He did not say a word. He simply held her hand briefly, giving her silent encouragement. The teacher clapped softly, making Lily blush. Then she spoke gently. "Your music is extraordinary. You have a gift that must be nurtured. Would you like to take lessons at the academy?" Lily's eyes widened even more. Lessons at the academy? She had never imagined such a thing. But a part of her felt excited and hopeful. She looked at her father. Mr. Harris smiled and nodded. "If you want, Lily," he said softly. "It's a chance to grow, to share your music with the world." The next few days were filled with preparation. The teacher arranged for Lily to attend beginner classes in piano, providing materials and a small scholarship to cover the fees. She met the other students quietly, feeling shy and out of place. Many of them came from wealthy families with proper clothes, polished shoes, and years of formal training. Lily felt nervous but determined. She reminded herself of her father's words and focused on the music she loved. Her first day in the classroom was challenging. She struggled to read the sheet music, something the other students could do easily, but her natural ability to play by ear helped her catch up quickly. She surprised the teacher with her memory and her sense of rhythm. Her hands moved with agility, and her expressions showed emotion even while playing simple pieces. The other students watched her curiously, some whispering to each other. Lily ignored them. Her focus was on the piano, as always. Days turned into weeks. Lily practiced diligently, both in the classroom and in the empty hall at night. Her skills improved rapidly, and she began to tackle more complex pieces. She learned the basics of music theory, how to read notes, understand rhythm, and follow dynamics. Her natural talent combined with discipline allowed her to progress faster than expected. Mr. Harris watched proudly, amazed at how much his daughter had grown in such a short time. At home, Lily would sit quietly, reflecting on her day. She thought about the other students, the lessons, and the teacher's encouragement. She was determined not to let her background hold her back. She knew her talent was special, and she wanted to make the most of it. Every night after dinner, she would return to the academy to play in the empty hall. It was her sanctuary where she could experiment freely, explore her own melodies, and continue to grow. One afternoon, the head teacher came to the hall to observe her practice. She watched silently as Lily played a complicated piece she had never formally learned. Her fingers moved quickly and gracefully, producing a sound that was beyond her years. The teacher was astonished. She had seen many students talented and hardworking, but none with the natural gift and emotional depth that Lily possessed. She realized that Lily's potential was limitless. The teacher spoke gently. "Lily, your playing is extraordinary. You have something special that must be shared. One day you will perform in front of many people and they will be amazed by what they hear." Lily nodded quietly, feeling a mixture of excitement and fear. Performing in front of others was something she had never imagined. But she trusted her teacher and her father. They believed in her, and that belief gave her courage. Lily's evenings continued to be filled with music. She experimented with different styles, combining the pieces she had learned with her own improvisations. Her music became more expressive, telling stories of her life, her dreams, and her imagination. She discovered that each key could evoke emotion, and each melody could convey a message without words. The empty hall became a canvas for her creativity, and she painted it with sound every night. Meanwhile, her father continued his work, silently supporting her. He knew that the journey ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and moments of doubt, but he also knew that Lily's determination, passion, and natural talent would carry her through. He encouraged her quietly, offering advice when needed, but mostly giving her the space to grow and learn on her own. Word began to spread quietly within the academy. Some teachers noticed the little girl who played in the empty hall. They spoke of her talent in hushed tones, curious to see if the rumors were true. Students who once ignored her began to watch her practice from a distance, wondering how the janitor's daughter could play with such skill and emotion. Lily, unaware of the growing attention, continued to focus on her music, finding joy and satisfaction in the sound of the piano. One evening, after a long practice session, Lily packed her things and turned to her father. "Do you think I can really perform one day?" she asked quietly, unsure of herself. Mr. Harris knelt beside her, looking into her eyes. "I don't just think, Lily, I know. You have a gift that must be shared. Don't worry about fear or doubt. Music comes from your heart and it will guide you." Lily smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. She understood that no matter what happened, she had the love and support of her father and teacher, and that was enough to give her courage. And so, Lily continued her journey. Every day brought new lessons, challenges, and opportunities to grow. Every night the empty hall echoed with her melodies, full of emotion, depth, and wonder. The janitor's daughter, once unnoticed and shy, was slowly becoming a young musician with extraordinary potential. Her talent could not remain hidden forever, and soon the world outside the empty hall would have to listen and be amazed. The weeks that followed Lily's first lessons at the academy were full of challenges and discoveries. Each day she entered the classroom with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She wanted to prove herself, but at the same time, she was aware of how different she was from the other students. They had experienced teachers, proper instruments at home, and encouragement from their families. Lily had only her father, her determination, and the empty hall where she practiced each night. Her first lessons were not easy. Reading sheet music was confusing at first. Notes seemed like small, meaningless symbols on a page. She struggled to match them with the keys on the piano. The other students seemed to do it effortlessly. Some of them whispered among themselves, pointing to her or shaking their heads in disbelief. Lily felt the sting of self-doubt, but she remembered her father's words. "Music comes from your heart. Don't let fear stop you." She took a deep breath and continued to practice, determined to overcome the difficulties. Slowly, she began to understand the patterns. She realized that each note had a sound and a place in the music, and that her ear, which she had relied on for so long, could guide her through the sheet music. She played slowly at first, correcting mistakes, and gradually increased her speed. Her natural talent combined with discipline allowed her to keep up with the students who had years of lessons. Even the teachers were surprised at how quickly she adapted. One afternoon, Lily was practicing a complicated piece when a group of students gathered around, curious to see how she played. She felt her cheeks flush with nervousness. She had never performed in front of anyone besides her father, and now she was being watched. Her hands trembled slightly as she placed them on the keys. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and let the music flow. As she played, the whispers faded, replaced by silence. Her fingers moved gracefully, each note clear and confident. She added her own subtle touches, small improvisations that brought the music to life. By the time she finished, the students were silent for a moment, then began to clap. Some of them looked surprised, others impressed. Lily opened her eyes, feeling a mix of pride and relief. She realized that her music had spoken for her, showing everyone what she was capable of. Her reputation began to grow quietly. Teachers started to notice her dedication and skill. They observed her during lessons and practice sessions, impressed by her ability to combine emotion with technique. Lily remained humble, focused on her own learning rather than the attention she received. But inside, a small seed of confidence was growing. She knew that if she continued to work hard, she could achieve more than she had ever imagined. Meanwhile, Mr. Harris continued to support her quietly. He made sure she had everything she needed to practice, even if it was small things like adjusting the piano bench or bringing her a warm drink. He never pushed her or interfered with her learning. He simply provided a safe, encouraging environment. His belief in her never wavered, and that steady support gave Lily the courage to face challenges and keep moving forward. One evening, the head teacher approached Lily with an idea. The academy was planning a small recital, a chance for students to perform for teachers and parents. She suggested that Lily participate. Lily felt a rush of fear and excitement. Performing in front of an audience was something she had never done. She worried about mistakes, about being judged, about standing out. But she also felt a spark of possibility, a chance to share her music with others. She looked at her father, who smiled and nodded. "You can do this, Lily, just play from your heart," he said. Lily agreed to participate. She chose a piece she had practiced extensively, a melody that combined her technical skill with her own creative touches. She spent hours rehearsing in the empty hall, perfecting each note, each pause, each expression. The night before the recital, she played late into the evening, her fingers flying over the keys, her heart full of anticipation and nerves. Mr. Harris watched, quietly proud, knowing that she was ready. The day of the recital arrived. The academy hall was filled with students, parents, and teachers. Lily sat backstage, her hands resting on her lap, feeling nervous. She looked at her father, who gave her a reassuring smile. The first students performed, receiving applause and praise. Lily's turn approached, and her heart beat faster. She took a deep breath and walked onto the stage, the bright lights making her squint slightly. She sat at the piano, placed her fingers on the keys, and closed her eyes. The first notes filled the hall, soft and deliberate. Lily's fingers moved with precision and grace, following the rhythm she had practiced so many times. The audience was silent, captivated by the unexpected depth of her playing. She added her own touches, improvisations that made the melody uniquely hers. Every note carried emotion, joy, sadness, hope, and the listeners felt it. By the time she finished, the hall erupted into applause. Teachers and parents were amazed. The janitor's daughter, quiet and shy, had delivered a performance that none would forget. Lily's confidence grew after that day. She realized that music was not just for the empty hall. It could reach people, touch hearts, and inspire admiration. She continued her lessons and practice, now with a renewed sense of purpose. The other students began to respect her talent, and some even sought her guidance in areas where she excelled. Lily remained humble, but her presence in the academy was now impossible to ignore. Her father, of course, was the proudest. He never expected such recognition, and yet he knew deep down that Lily had this potential all along. He continued to support her quietly, helping her maintain focus, reminding her to rest when needed, and celebrating each small victory with her. Their bond grew stronger, connected not only by love but by the shared journey of Lily's extraordinary talent. As the days turned into weeks and months, Lily continued to excel. She faced challenges, of course, moments of doubt and frustration, but she learned to overcome them with patience and perseverance. She explored new musical styles, experimented with her own compositions, and became more comfortable performing in front of audiences. Her talent, nurtured by her father and the academy, was blossoming into something remarkable, and so, the janitor's daughter, once quiet and unnoticed, was becoming a young musician whose talent could not be hidden. She was learning that courage, hard work, and the support of those who believe in you could transform dreams into reality. Lily knew that this was just the beginning of her journey, But with each note she played, she moved closer to a future full of music, passion, and endless possibilities. The weeks following the recital were filled with excitement and nervous anticipation for Lily. She had gained recognition within the academy, but now there was talk of a larger event, a public concert where students would perform in front of a crowd of parents, teachers, and music enthusiasts from the city. The idea of playing in front of so many people made Lily's heart race. She had never imagined her music could reach so far. The thought was thrilling but also frightening. Her father, Mr. Harris, noticed her anxiety and tried to comfort her. "Music is about sharing, Lily, not about fear," he said one evening as they walked home from the academy. "The people listening are not here to judge you. They want to hear your music the way it lives inside you." Lily nodded, absorbing his words. She knew he was right, but she also felt the weight of expectation pressing on her shoulders. The next few days were consumed with preparation. Lily practiced tirelessly, perfecting every piece she planned to play. She experimented with new melodies, adding her own variations to familiar tunes. Every night she returned to the empty hall to rehearse, her fingers moving with increasing confidence. Mr. Harris would often sit quietly nearby, sometimes humming softly, his eyes filled with pride and awe. He had watched her grow from a shy girl pressing a single key to a young musician capable of captivating an audience with her skill and emotion. As the day of the concert approached, Lily's nerves grew stronger. She watched other students rehearse and felt a mixture of admiration and anxiety. Some of them had been performing for years, and their confidence seemed unshakable. Lily worried she would stumble, make a mistake, or fail to impress the audience. But every time she thought of giving up, she remembered her father's words and the quiet evenings in the empty hall where she had learned to trust herself. Finally, the day arrived. The concert hall was grand, filled with rows of chairs, sparkling chandeliers, and a polished stage. Parents and music lovers chatted excitedly as they found their seats. Lily waited backstage, her fingers tapping nervously on the piano keys she had hidden behind the curtain. She took deep breaths, trying to calm the storm inside her heart. Her father's reassuring smile gave her a small spark of courage. When her turn came, Lily stepped onto the stage. The bright lights made her squint, and the murmuring audience seemed enormous. She sat at the piano, placed her hands on the keys, and closed her eyes. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. She remembered the quiet nights in the academy, the empty hall, and her father's constant support. Slowly, she pressed the first key and the melody began to flow. At first, the notes were soft and tentative, but as she continued, her confidence grew. Her fingers moved with precision and grace, creating a rich, expressive sound that filled the hall. She added her own touches, subtle improvisations that made the music uniquely hers. Each note carried emotion, hope, joy, longing, and wonder. The audience sat in silence, captivated by the unexpected depth of her performance. People who had never seen her before were amazed by the skill and emotion coming from such a young girl. By the end of the piece, the hall erupted into applause. Some people were on their feet clapping and cheering. Teachers and parents were astonished. Lily opened her eyes, blinking at the bright lights and the crowd. She felt a mixture of relief, pride, and disbelief. She had done it. She had shared her music with the world, and the world had listened. Her father stood in the back, tears forming in his eyes, proud beyond words. After the concert, Lily was approached by teachers and audience members. They praised her talent, her creativity, and the emotion she brought to her performance. Some offered opportunities for advanced lessons, scholarships, and even invitations to perform at other events. Lily listened quietly, feeling a little overwhelmed by the attention. She had never expected her music to have such an impact. But deep down she felt happy, knowing that the music she loved so much could reach and touch others. Back at home, Lily and her father reflected on the day. Mr. Harris prepared a simple dinner, and they sat together at the small kitchen table. "You were amazing today, Lily," he said softly. "I knew you could do it, but even I am amazed by how beautifully you played." Lily smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. She realized that all the practice, the challenges, and the quiet evenings in the empty hall had led to this moment. She felt a sense of accomplishment and gratitude. In the days that followed, Lily continued to practice, exploring new pieces and refining her skills. She was no longer just the janitor's daughter playing in the empty hall. She was a young musician with recognition, opportunities, and a growing confidence. Yet she remained humble and focused. She understood that talent alone was not enough. Discipline, dedication, and passion were equally important. She continued to push herself, learning new techniques and experimenting with her own compositions. Lily also became more comfortable interacting with other students. Some who had doubted her or whispered behind her back began to respect her talent. She helped classmates who struggled with certain pieces, sharing her knowledge and encouraging them. Her kindness and humility, combined with her extraordinary skill, made her a respected and admired member of the academy. She had not only proven her ability, but had also earned the admiration of her peers. One evening, after a long day of practice, Lily sat at the piano in the empty hall. She played a melody that was soft, gentle, and reflective. It was a piece she had created herself, inspired by her journey so far. The quiet nights with her father, the first time she touched the piano, the nervous moments in the classroom, and the exhilarating applause at the concert. Her fingers moved effortlessly, each note telling a part of her story. Mr. Harris stood nearby, watching with pride and wonder, silently understanding the depth of her gift. As Lily played, she realized something important. Music was not just about talent or recognition. It was about connection, emotion, and expression. It was about telling stories, sharing feelings, and touching lives. She thought about all the people who had heard her play and been moved by it. She thought about the joy, hope, and inspiration that music could bring. And she knew that she wanted to continue sharing her gift, not for fame or praise, but for the love of music and the power it had to reach others. Her father approached her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You have grown so much, Lily," he said softly. "Your music is not just beautiful, it is meaningful. Never forget that. Keep playing, keep learning, and always let your heart guide you." Lily smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. She knew that her journey was just beginning, and that with her father's support and her own determination, she could achieve anything she set her mind to. And so, the janitor's daughter who once played in the empty hall had become a young musician, capable of inspiring awe and admiration. Her talent, nurtured by patience, hard work, and love, had brought her to the stage and touched the hearts of many. She had learned that courage, dedication, and belief in oneself were the keys to turning dreams into reality. Lily knew that the path ahead would have challenges, but she also knew that with music in her heart, she could face anything and continue to grow, creating melodies that would echo far beyond the walls of the academy. After the concert, Lily's life began to change in ways she had never imagined. The applause and praise she had received lingered in her mind, and the encouragement from teachers and audience members inspired her to work even harder. But despite the recognition, she remained humble and focused, remembering the quiet nights spent practicing in the empty hall with her father by her side. That place had been her sanctuary, and it still held a special meaning for her. Opportunities started to appear. Music professors from other academies and local musicians offered lessons and mentorship. Some invited her to perform at small community events, while others spoke about possible scholarships and advanced training. Each offer was exciting but also overwhelming. Lily often felt unsure if she was ready. Her father noticed her hesitation and reminded her, "You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be true to yourself and your music." His words comforted her and reminded her that her journey was about growth, not just accolades. Lily continued to balance her lessons, practice, and schoolwork. She spent hours at the academy piano, exploring more complex pieces and creating her own music. Each day brought new challenges, but she embraced them with patience and dedication. Slowly, her confidence grew. She no longer worried as much about what others thought of her playing. She played because she loved music, and because she wanted to share the emotions that lived inside her. At home, Mr. Harris watched his daughter with pride. He had worked so hard to provide for her, often sacrificing his own needs, and now he saw the results of her determination and talent. But he never let her success make her feel superior. He reminded her that true happiness in music came from the joy of playing, from expressing what words could not. Lily appreciated these reminders and carried them with her every time she sat at the piano. One day, a letter arrived from a prestigious music academy in another city. They had heard about Lily's remarkable talent and were offering her a scholarship to study there for a year. The opportunity was incredible, but it also meant leaving her father and the familiar place she had grown up in. Lily felt torn. She wanted to pursue her dreams, but she didn't want to leave the person who had always supported her. Her father noticed her struggle and said softly, "Lily, music is a journey. Sometimes you must take steps that are hard, but they will help you grow. I will always be with you in spirit, and I will always be proud of you." His words gave her the courage to accept the scholarship. Lily prepared for her journey, packing her few belongings and saying goodbye to the academy that had nurtured her talent. She promised herself that she would continue to practice, continue to grow, and continue to honor the music that had brought her so far. Her father walked with her to the train station, holding her hand tightly. "Remember, Lily," he said, "the world may see your talent, but never forget why you play. Play for yourself, play for your heart, and play for those who believe in you." Lily nodded, tears in her eyes, feeling both sadness and excitement. In the new academy, Lily faced new challenges. The students were older, more experienced, and many had studied music for years. At first she felt intimidated, but she quickly realized that her unique approach to music, her ability to play with emotion and creativity, set her apart. Teachers were impressed by her skill and the depth of feeling in her performances. She continued to learn and grow, absorbing lessons from every class, every performance, and every interaction with fellow musicians. Lily also made friends who shared her passion for music. They encouraged one another, practiced together, and supported each other through mistakes and successes. These friendships brought joy and comfort, helping her adapt to a new environment. Lily discovered that music was not just about individual talent. It was also about connection, collaboration, and shared experiences. Over time, Lily began performing in larger venues. She played in community halls, small theaters, and even charity events. Audiences were captivated by her ability to convey deep emotions through her music. Each performance brought new confidence, and each audience reaction reminded her of the power of music to touch hearts. She remembered the first time she had played in the empty hall with her father watching quietly, and she felt grateful for those quiet beginnings that had shaped her love for music. Years passed, and Lily's reputation as a talented and expressive pianist grew. She received invitations to perform in major cities, participate in competitions, and collaborate with renowned musicians. Her performances were no longer just about technical skill. They were about storytelling, about connecting with people on a profound level. Critics and audiences alike praised her for her originality, emotional depth, and the purity of her expression. Through all of this, Lily remained grounded. She never forgot her father, who had been her first audience, her first supporter, and her guiding light. She continued to visit him whenever she could, sharing her experiences, playing for him, and expressing her gratitude for the sacrifices he had made. Mr. Harris never boasted about his daughter's achievements, but his pride was evident in every glance, every word, and every quiet smile. One evening, after a long performance tour, Lily returned home. She walked into the empty hall where she had first discovered her love for the piano. The keys were familiar under her fingers, and the echoes of past melodies filled the space. She played softly, allowing her emotions to flow freely. Memories of her journey, from the first hesitant notes to the first recital to the public concerts, came flooding back. She realized how far she had come, not just in skill but in understanding the true meaning of music. Her father stood nearby, watching her with quiet pride. "You've grown so much, Lily," he said softly. "Not just as a musician, but as a person. Your music has the power to touch hearts, and it always will." Lily smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. She knew that her journey was far from over, but she also understood that she had achieved something remarkable. She had transformed her passion into a gift for the world. Lily continued to perform, teach, and inspire others. She took on students, helping them discover their own love for music, and shared her story to encourage young musicians to follow their dreams. She became known not only for her extraordinary talent, but also for her humility, kindness, and dedication to the art of music. Her life was a testament to the power of perseverance, love, and the unwavering support of those who believe in us, and so, the janitor's daughter, who had once played quietly in the empty hall, had become a celebrated pianist, touching lives and hearts through her music. She never forgot where she came from, the quiet moments with her father, or the first notes she had ever played. Her story was one of courage, dedication, and the magic that happens when talent meets opportunity, and love guides every step along the way.